Now there's a new warning on fact sheets for Pfizer and Moderna COVID doses. The FDA just added that warning about rare heart inflammation. So listen to this. Experts do say the risk is very low. There have been just 12.6 heart inflammation cases for 1 million doses for both vaccines combined. Now, despite life returning to almost normal for many of us, we got one reminder this week that the coronavirus pandemic is not yet over. Now, to bring in some perspective, we'll bring in a familiar face, our friend, who we love so much, our medical expert, Dr. Arnold Baskies. He's the past chairman of the National Board of Directors of the American Cancer Society and also chair of the Global Cancer Control Advisory Council. Dr. B, always a pleasure to have you with us this morning.
Great to see you this morning, Stephania.
Yeah, we hope that you're beating the heat right now. Now we want to talk about, what's happening in Israel. That country, it is putting COVID restrictions back in place. And the reason that this is so alarming is that that country has really had a very high vaccination rate. I mean, they did this quickly. They were really efficient. I remember months ago, you were even talking about how good of a job Israeli officials did in really making sure that the vaccine was adequately administered. But you look at that and you wonder, is that a warning sign for us here?
Well, Israel has done a great job, but it's currently reassessing the COVID regulations that it put into place after it reopened. About half of the adults who have been infected in an outbreak from the Delta variant, that's the important part of this, the Delta variant, were fully inoculated with the Pfizer vaccine. So it's disturbing. That's what prompted the Israeli government to reimpose an indoor mask requirement and other measures in order to contain the Delta variant. The preliminary results of their studies in Israel has shown that about 90% of the new infections were caused by the Delta variant. The bottom line is this. I think we can expect some more breakthrough cases in people who have been vaccinated in our own country because the Delta variant is gaining its strength here. But evidence from countries like England indicate that the vaccine will prevent a large increase in severe illness and hospitalizations. So the good news is that if you're vaccinated, the likelihood of you ending up in the hospital or with a serious illness is very low. But it probably is going to lead, the Delta variant will lead to increased numbers of breakthrough cases. In other words, there will be more COVID down the line, but less severe hospitalizations and less severe illness.
Yeah, you just talked about that Delta variant. It's very important because this is really top of mind when we talk about COVID. And I'm reading an article here on NBC News that really they're saying the threat of it is they're really worried about it spreading in the South where the vaccination rates are so low. So that's something that we're also watching and something we should be keeping in mind as many of us plan our summer vacations.
Okay, exactly.
Right. So you talked about this right now. We want to go back. We keep talking about booster shots every week. And obviously, whenever we talk about a variant, we got to ask about it. So who's going to need these booster shots and when? And also, will that third shot be modified to protect against variants like the Delta one that you just mentioned?
So at the end of the day, Moderna and Pfizer, our two main vaccine candidates, are already producing booster shots for us. And the question is, when will they be needed? According to all the forecasting that's been done, it's probable that the most vulnerable people in our population, in other words, the elderly, the people who are immunosuppressed, people who've had organ transplants, are probably going to need an annual vaccine booster. We don't know for sure, however, when that would be and how long the immunity will last in a significant way from the vaccines that we've already gotten. But the real danger in all of this are the people who have not been vaccinated. The longer we go with 20% of the population who either are vaccine resistant or don't want to have a vaccine given to them, the longer that happens, the more likely we are to have outbreaks like we've seen already. So the booster story is an ongoing dilemma as to when, but it's almost certain that the most vulnerable people in our population, the elderly, the people who've had organ transplants, people who are undergoing cancer treatment. Those are the people who will probably receive the vaccine boosters first. And then others like the healthier population will probably get their vaccine boosters later on. When that booster is going to occur is the question.
Right, and that's something that we continue to go back to, and that's why we love having you here every week, because there's always new information to kind of sift through and break down for our audience. Dr. B, always a pleasure to see you, my friend.
Thanks, Stephanie.